Bienvenidos a Soy Ventoso Macabro Podcast, yo soy Dee y hoy hablaré de un caso que sucedió en Escondido, California. On a chilly Halloween night in 1995, 10-year-old Eddie Lothirath opened the door expecting to greet another trick-or-treater. Instead, he was met by a masked man with a deadly intention. Unbeknownst to Eddie, the intruder wasn't after candy. He was there to kill Eddie's father, 30-year-old Phoutone Tawn Lothirath. Nearly 3 decades later, the Lothirath family is still searching for answers and closure. This is the tragic, unsolved murder of Phoutone Tawn Lothirath.
Advertencia: la información de este caso puede ser desencadenante para algunos. Tenga en cuenta que algunos de estos casos pueden involucrar menores de edad, abuso, violación o violencia. Escuchen con precaución.
Warning: the information on this case can be triggering to some. Please be advised that some of these cases may involve children, abuse, rape, and violence. Listen with caution.
He had lots of friends. He was easy to get along with. He was a good father to both his children. He was a provider. And when he opened the door, the masked man had said, "Trick or treat." What was overheard was, "Hey, brother, let's talk about it." And then that was it.
Phoutone Lothirath, also known as Tawn, and how we're going to refer to him from this point on, was born in Laos, a country in the Southeast Asia. He was the eldest brother of 7 siblings, and taking the role as a caring and protective older brother. His sister Venice Kasprowski remembers him as being a loving and a very protective brother. Growing up, she recalls that he would spend much of his time at the local Buddhist temple, helping the monks and find solace in his spiritual surroundings. During the Vietnam War in 1979, Tawn's family actually fled Laos and decided to find refuge and settle in the city of St. Paul's in Minnesota. This all happened through the help of their local church. Typically, because of the time period and the fact that they left Southeast Asia, there wasn't a lot of people in the Midwest with the same ethnicity. They were pretty much very on their own. They had no family in Minnesota, so they were the first ones to settle there. Life in the U.S. was very difficult for the Lothirath family. Just a month after arriving, Tawn's father was diagnosed with cancer and passed away less than a year after they arrived to the U.S. As the eldest sibling, Tawn's mother depended on him to take hold of the family and become an adult and take the responsibilities at such a young age. However, like many teenagers, he struggled with the pressures of adulthood and began to rebel against his mother. His mother eventually sent him to live with relatives that they had in Texas in hopes that he would come back and become a responsible adult. When Tawn returned to Minnesota, he was completely different. He became a changed man. According to Vian, she told the Project Cold Case that, quote, Tawn seemed more mature, loving, and even calm. In his mid-20s, Tawn met the woman that would eventually become his wife, and together they started a family. They eventually relocated from Minnesota to Escondido, California, to be closer to her relatives. While the move concerned Tawn's family and siblings, Tawn stayed connected with them regularly by sending letters, photos, and flying back and forth whenever he could. During the early 1990s, Tawn and his wife ended up filing for divorce, and their children ended up splitting their time between both parents. On October 31st, 1995, at around 9 p.m., 10-year-old Eddie Lothirath heard a knock on the door. He ran towards the door in excitement to greet the last few trick-or-treaters of the night. Once Eddie opened the door, he was greeted by a tall man wearing a bandana covering half of his face. This man was standing at the front of the door and murmured the words, "Trick or treat." Not thinking much about it, Eddie turned around and grabbed the bowl that was right next to the door. Once Eddie turned back around, the trick-or-treater, he was faced with a gun to the face. The man ended up demanding that Eddie went back to the room that he came from. As Eddie went inside the room, the man entered the house and went directly to Tawn. Before Tawn could even react, the man ended up pinning Tawn down. The man had pinned Tawn down and shot him twice in the chest and once in the head. According to police detective Ralph Clayton, Eddie and Tawn's girlfriend had heard the argument coming from the living room right before hearing the gunshots. According to the reports, Eddie and Tawn's girlfriend heard Tawn say, quote, "Hey brother, we can work this out," before hearing the several of shots ringing out. The night of the crime, witnesses reported seeing a man running out of the home and towards the back alley. They also recall that there was a small dark car right behind the alley before the crime had actually happened. According to Detective Ralph Clayton, there seemed to be two suspects, one that went into the home and shot Tawn, and the other one driving the getaway car. According to different articles, they also say that the man that was part of the getaway car was outside of the home, shooting into the house from the window. But according to different outlets, there was no correlation if there was actually more gunshots that rang out or if it was only the person that had entered the home. Detective Ralph Clayton told reports that he believed Tawn knew his killer, as a Laotian typically reserves the term brother for relatives and close friends. However, authorities have ruled out any blood relatives and close friends as being suspects. Tawn's sister, Vienne, shared that the phone records that belonged to Tawn's phone indicated that he had been in a relationship for a few months before his murder. She revealed that the woman that he was dating at the time was still married. She speculates that the woman's ex-partner may have hired men to have taken the role of hitmen towards Tawn. Despite the theory, detectives interviewed the woman's ex-partner, and he provided a solid alibi. According to Vienne, Tawn's murder destroyed her family. She goes on to say that some relatives no longer speak to each other, and some have even decided to move on. They believe that trying to find out what happened on the night of Tawn's murder to be too painful to relive. However, Vienne told ABC 10 News that she can't let it go, that she has dedicated the last 29 years of her life to trying to find answers. She told Project Case News, quote, "I still have very strong family ties that were installed in us since we were children by my parents. It's unfortunate that all my siblings were not on the same page. It's a tough subject. Some would rather keep it buried, not to have it resurface. That's something that I just chose not to do." She's hoping that the newly announced reward will encourage someone to come forward and share the information that can help solve this case. It's been almost 29 years since Phoutone Lothirath's tragic ambush and murder at his own home. After spending a night full of fun with his son that was expected to be full of excitement and candy, was overshadowed by a tragic murder that hasn't been solved for almost 3 decades. Tawn's children deserve to find the closure on what happened to their father. His sister needs to find the answers she has deeply searched for the last 29 years. The people that took the life of a loving man needs to serve their time. At the time, police described the killer as a very thin Asian man between the ages of 18 to 25 and about 5 feet 3 inches tall. If you have any information on the unsolved murder of Phoutone, Tawn, Lothirath. Please call the Escondido Police Department's Homicide Unit at 760-839-4974. That's 760-839-4974. Or the Crime Stoppers Anonymous Tip Line at 888-580-8477. Tips can also be made anonymously. For information on how to do this, visit www.sdcrimestoppers.org. This was the unsolved murder of Phoutone, Lothirath.
I come from a family of 7, and my brother Tawn was firstborn son, the older brother, the protector. There were 2 involved, one that actually entered his residence and another one who was outside and shot into the home. I myself believe the 2 perpetrators that went to the house were hired of some sort. They were hired hitmen. I'm asking for the public's help in finding answers.
And that was the case for this week. I know it's quite the short case, but I found it very intriguing because it's an unsolved murder, and sadly somebody knows something, and the family deserves to have closure and have answers regarding this murder. But again, if you have any information or want to give any tips regarding this case, the information of how you can leave those tips or call the hotline will be in the description of this podcast episode, as well as on our Instagram and our other social media platforms. But as you can tell, today it's just me doing this episode, and I just wanted to inform you guys that due to a family emergency, Addie couldn't record the episode this week, and we didn't want to skip on another week without leaving you guys with an episode. So I decided to do this one on my own, but hopefully if everything goes well, Ali could return maybe next week, and we can go ahead and go back to our regular scheduling. But until then, we'll figure it out and keep you guys posted. But again, thank you so much for tuning in, for listening, and if you want to listen to our other 126 episodes, you can go on our Spotify, Apple Podcasts, on Amazon Music, and wherever you stream podcasts. Just type in Enmascarado podcast, and our whole catalog should come up. If you want to follow us and open any sort of discussion or talk about any case, or if you want to recommend a case, you can follow us and send us a direct message to our social media platforms. You can follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Threads, on TikTok. Just type in Enmascarado podcast or at SVSM_podcast, and our social media platforms should pop up. You can also go on Facebook and type Enmascarado podcast, and we should be popping up there. Let's see where else. Also, we have a YouTube channel, so you can see the visuals of our episodes by going on YouTube. Just type in Enmascarado podcast, and the video should be there. Due to the fact that Ali has a family emergency, it's been taking me some time to get back to editing the videos and posting them, but hopefully we will have those up shortly. But yeah, this is the last official week of November, so we'll have one more case before October ends. But until then, hope you guys are enjoying the Halloween season. I know it's been very busy on my end, so I've been trying to enjoy as much as I can. But truly, as a spooky ghoul, I am tired and I just want to rest. So I'm really looking forward to November. But again, send us your pet costumes. I would really appreciate it. I love it. New York City had their dog costume parade, I think a week ago, And it was my favorite thing because everybody kept sending me videos of pugs and of Beetlejuice themed doll costumes. So it's been my absolute favorite thing of the week. And if you're looking forward to probably watching some spooky movies, I have 2 recommendations of lists that you can watch. One of them is Gay Spooky Podcast. They have a list of 1 to 31 movies that they'll be watching during the Halloween season. And I just love it because it has a mixture of so many different movie genres, subgenres of horror. And also the lovely gals from A Spooky Tales podcast have a list of 31 movies to watch during the Halloween season. Also different genres of subgenres of horror that you can watch. So if you're planning to watch something spooky during this Halloween season, please check those 2 podcasts out. It would mean a lot to me because they put so much effort into these lists, and I am trying to watch some of those movies for this upcoming week. But until then, I hope you're having a wonderful, spooky, ghoulish Halloween season. And we'll see you guys next week. Also, if you heard the pugs in the background, I apologize. They are following me like hawks, and they want to be near me all the time. And most of the thing that they want to do is sleep. So if you hear them snoring, I apologize. But until next week, I'll see you later. Bye. Stay spooky.
¿Te sientes abrumado por los retos diarios y buscas una guía firme? En Estoicismo para Ganadores, te mostramos cómo la filosofía estoica puede darte la claridad y la fuerza que necesitas para superar cualquier obstáculo. Aprende a aplicar estos principios para fortalecer tu mente y espíritu. No dejes que la vida te controle. Recupera el poder hoy. Escucha Estoicismo para Ganadores en Spotify y comienza tu camino hacia una vida más plena.
¿Quieren saber por qué secuestraron al gordo?
¿O cómo le robaron la caleta a la de la chaguala?
Esto es Relatos Ñeros, un podcast agisoso que cuenta historias del barrio.
Si quieren escuchar historias reales y peligrosas de la calle, los pueblos y las veredas, este es su podcast.
Relatos Ñeros narra, con un lenguaje sencillo y cotidiano, las historias en las que usted puede ser el protagonista.
Todos los miércoles en Spotify y en YouTube, escuchen Relatos Ñeros.